Asta's newest sword, his fifth anti-magic weapon, the Demon Banisher sword. When we talk about Asta's power-ups, there are only two areas in which he can grow. First, in his anti-magic, which he likely mastered in the Land of the Sun, thanks to his understanding of how people use their ki to manipulate their mana. This creates magic power that can then be used for spells or general magic, like the Zen process. Asta's even hinted that he could use his anti-magic with ki manipulation to perform anti-magic spells, just like any other magic spell. For instance, anti-magic skin. We are not sure how far Asta has taken this new discovery. He had 3 days to develop it. But even if he mastered all aspects of magic in terms of what anti-magic can do, we already know there's no mysterious new power he could awaken with this new ki manipulation. Aside from what we've already seen from other magic knights, this means things like anti-creation magic, anti-mana zone, anti-mana skin, and so on. None of these will surprise us unless Asta invents a new magic technique that becomes one of the most powerful and well-known techniques in the future, and he goes down in history as the inventor. So besides any new transformations or a second magic, the only surprise left is likely to be a new sword for Asta, his final sword. When it comes to Asta, Black Clover is all about swords. Almost like a tradition, Asta usually gets a new sword every 50-100 chapters. As Black Clover is in its final saga, there's no doubt Asta will get his final sword, given the names Demon Slayer, Demon Dweller, Demon Destroyer, and Demon Slasher. And considering the theme of this arc is the Day of Judgment, like a holy war on earth against devils who appear like angels, I believe the perfect name will be Demon Banisher sword. But why Banisher? Just like God banished Lucifer and all the other rebellious angels to hell where they became devils, Asta could banish the souls of all the purified devils back into the underworld. Here they will once again become the devils they are meant to be. I'm not suggesting the sword itself will necessarily have such an ability that Asta can use to banish purified devil souls back into the underworld in devil form, but I wouldn't rule out that possibility either, at least in some form. I think it could be possible. But the main point is that there must be a new sword, and the banishing attribute as well as the name itself simply makes the most logical sense, following Slayer, Dweller, Destroyer, and Slasher. Let's move on to discuss when and how Asta might get this sword, and it's quite possible that this could happen in the coming chapters. Let me explain why. There are a few theories about how, why, and when Asta will get the last sword, but one of these theories fits all current conditions perfectly. This theory is based on one of my older predictions where I suggested that there will come a time in this series when Asta will need to defeat Baal. I not only predicted the existence of Baal, but also that he will use a sword. This is because in demonology he is considered the master of all blacksmiths, making him the creator of all weapons. Indirectly, of course. Baal the blacksmith devil, he's a maker of weapons, particularly sharp weapons like swords. He also possesses potent weapons himself which he uses in battle, as we have seen in the Black Clover manga. It's essential to know the difference here between actual swords and magic spells. We have seen many swords from characters who don't typically use swords, like Yuno's Spirit of Zephyr. The distinction is that all these swords are spells, not physically forged items, so they aren't a blacksmith's work, and can be used by Asta, for instance, to store the sword in his grimoire. Baal in demonology is known for using real swords, and this opens up many possibilities. Besides the dwarves, he's the best sword maker around, essentially the master of the first ever blacksmith and all weapons. I emphasize this again and again to show why it's so likely that Asta could get a new sword, maybe even in the next chapter. There's never been a better chance, and it obviously looked like a fake death. So if a character like Baal indeed has a sword, it's safe to guess it won't be an ordinary sword. It will likely be on par with Asta's demon weapons, and have special powers. This could make Baal one of the few characters along with Asta and Licht to use similar swords to the demon swords. It also suggests that Baal might actually be the real creator of the anti-magic weapons. I always considered only two options. Either the dwarves made Asta swords, in which case demon means they are fighting against demons or devils, or Baal made them. If Baal is the creator, then the swords are not against demons but made by a demon, and thus they are stronger when a demon or devil wields them. This is also the perfect chance for Asta to finally unlock his sword's true powers. Maybe Baal will even teach Asta how to do it. It doesn't need to be willingly. We know Asta learned how to use Zedin by simply watching Ichika's ki as she demonstrated the technique. So if Baal has a magic sword similar to Asta's sword, especially if he invented them, then he might use his own ki to control or activate the sword's effect if Asta sees this ki pattern in Baal's body and sword. He could instantly mimic it and unlock all of Licht's powers. This will instantly make Asta as strong as Licht on top of his own strength. This could also be a nice callback to earlier parts of Black Clover, which Tabata loves to do. For instance, the whole reincarnation resembles the Paladin situation. That's why I was able to predict that characters worldwide will transform into demons or devils. Technically, this theory came true since they are purified devils. The same might happen here. There was a time when Asta had to face the reality that these weren't his swords, and Licht even took a sword from Asta's hand. Patri also confronted Asta, suggesting that he was using something that didn't belong to him, and the Witch Queen also confirmed the same thing about the swords not being Asta's. This situation troubled Asta. Despite Licht being gone, Asta felt compelled to return his grimoire and swords, but Licht refused, claiming it was now his. However, just as Licht gave Asta the swords, he might have received them from someone else. We don't know their original source. I seriously doubt they came from the sword magic grimoire originally, since Asta can put any physical sword inside. That proves this sword most likely didn't originate from Licht. It's possible that if Baal regains conscience or if Banisher retains Baal's memories, he could explain that he created the swords and ask Asta to return them, something along those lines. But most importantly, this could mean that Baal has a sword he thinks is the strongest. Asta could then get the sword after defeating him. All Asta needs to do is touch the sword, and it turns into an anti-magic weapon and no longer belongs to Baal. That's the main idea. But there are also a few other chances, like Asta getting a sword from the Land of the Sun. After all, it's the home of katanas, and usually katanas are crafted specifically for a particular person. We are not sure if there's a deeper mystery about the katanas from the Land of the Sun. They could be magically enhanced. We are also unsure if the katana Asta currently uses even comes from there. We do know that Yami now has a new katana, and he often mentioned that he repaired his sword. This implies there's a blacksmith in the Clover Kingdom. However, this person might not know the proper way to make a real katana. Yami could have described the design, but it doesn't mean it functions the same, especially if the sword from the Land of the Sun are even slightly similar to Asta's magic swords. Asta might have received a legendary weapon that once belonged to a powerful person from the past, like one of the previous rulers or one of Ryu's katanas. We have seen two. Perhaps even the inventor of Zedon or the goddess who beat the dragon in the past. Then of course there's the chance that his final sword could be a gift from the dwarves, whether or not they made the other three weapons. The key point here is that the dwarves are known for being superb blacksmiths, who are said to craft the strongest weapons. They then give these weapons to powerful warriors to help maintain peace or protect the world. This fits perfectly into Black Clover if we consider that the swords might have been forged for the First Clifford War that took place 1200 years ago before the establishment of the Heart Kingdom, as we saw in the memories of the person who likely became the first queen of the Heart Kingdom. The last possibility is something truly intriguing. We know that one of Asta's swords was hidden in the dungeon, and for some odd reasons, Asta ended up in that dungeon. Lots of strange things happened there, like the scroll, an object known from the Land of the Sun that held the wind spirit. Then there was a magic spell that saved Asta, and also Nero knowing where the sword was hidden, and many other very strange things. All of this suggests that the person who hid Asta's grimoire also hid the second sword. So maybe that person also hid the final sword inside the grimoire. Asta could have been carrying his final sword all along. Just picture this scene. Asta nearly defeated when suddenly his grimoire starts to glow and a sword emerges. That will be one of the biggest twists ever in Black Clover. But there's too much to delve into about this theory now, so I will make a separate video about it soon. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss this video. Please let me know your thoughts of this theory in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? And if you enjoyed watching this video, then please give it a like. It really helps me a lot. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye.